Everyone, or good morning, depending on where you are. Most probably you are in the Southeastern European region, so it should be good evening. My name is Vassilis Papakonstantinou, and I'm the Vice Chairman of the StartSmart Southeastern Europe. And this is the second presentation of the idea from the idea to impact. And the goal is to show you how we can use various generative AI tools for your startup, for accelerating your startup. Let me share my screen and we can get going. So I hope that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, let me start the presentation. Okay, so this is the second round of the from the idea to impact, and the goal, as I said, is to explore how generative AI can help you multiply your startup effort and enable you to do much more with less resources, as it is always the case. But first, let me give you a quick overview about StartSmart, and in particular, the StartSmart Accelerator, which is our flagship program that helps startups in the Southeastern Europe build their value proposition in order to raise money. We have been running this program since 2014, initially as MIT Enterprise Forum Greece, and now as StartSmart Southeastern Europe. Over the years, we have completed more than 11 acceleration programs. Several hundred of startups applied. We have accelerated 260 startups. We maintain connections with our alumni, about 100 of them that have gone to raise 300 million. So we think that this is a very successful program, especially for deep tech startups, and we hope that you will join if you have not already joined the application program. These are some notable alumni. You can see different companies from life sciences to market to robotics to AI, mobility, and up there is Augmenta, who was acquired for 110 million a couple of years ago. The things that you should expect is accelerated growth. As I said, most of our alumni have managed to raise a significant amount of money. We provide a global network connected to MIT. You have access to MIT specific resources. We are planning a new program that will connect you directly with angel investors, although we already have a program for connecting the alumni with investors. And we have a strong specialization in deep tech, which I think is a unique opportunity because most of the accelerators are having a more generalist approach. And we have a strong alumni network that allows you to find people that have gone through the phases and ask for help, and they will be able to help you as they have been helped by other ones before. The process, if you consider applying, the applications are going to close this weekend. You will the application is not very complicated, but certainly requires some understanding of the market. We want you to have a prototype to be 2 to 5, probably not 4, 5 founders, and have not raised more than 1.5 million in equity funding. If you are a research group and you have raised 10 million, that's fine. The equity funding is restricted. So once you apply, you will receive feedback from our judges. Each application will be reviewed by 3 different people from our network. They will give you feedback. They will give you also a score to your application, which will allow us to select the top probably between 20 and 25 teams to go into the semifinal round, which will run from late February, most probably early March, until late May. And that part of the program, you'll have access to a lot of hands-on workshops, access to MIT resources, and will be connected with experienced mentors. The semifinalists will cut down to 10 through a non-light judging approximately in late May, and the 10 or up to 12 that they will make it to the final round, they will get more hands-on workshops, more mentoring, and they will have the opportunity to get on demo day, which will be part of the StartSmart Summit in the second half of June 2025. It's an interesting journey. Entrepreneurship is a great journey. It requires a lot of effort, and we think we can provide you with enough value to make it more successful in the long run. Um, uh, Building a startup is like throwing yourself off a cliff and trying to figure out how to assemble an airplane on the way down in order to avoid uh, crashing at the bottom of the cliff. Reid Hoffman said that, and the whole idea is to help you find a co-pilot that will be smart enough and can help you leverage your resources and make these experience more fruitful, more efficient. This startup copilot is essentially the type of LLMs that we are using today that have been trained with billions of text, and they have been able to identify connections between words. So essentially, they can understand what word comes next or what prompt comes next. Um, so if you provide them with an input, complete the sentence, the sky is, most probably the output will be the sky is blue during the day and dark at night. They can do so, and it's not magic. They can do so because they have learned all the things that we discussed before, and they have developed two very distinct capabilities. The natural language understanding, then the natural language generation. For the non-computer software engineers in the room, that means that they can understand the spoken language, not only English, different languages, and they can produce text and content in similarly many languages, and the result feels almost like it was written by humans. If you have tried using any of these LLMs like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, DeepSeek, or whatever else, I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. Using these two very advanced foundational skills, these tools have developed over with a lot of training, some advanced skills, essentially the ability to summarize, the ability to translate, the ability to answer questions based on text, do sentiment analysis, content generation of specific form, problem solving, even data analysis and reporting. So these are emerging advanced skills that they are possible because we have trained, we have shown these tools how to understand language and to understand reading the language and writing the language. And if you peel that layer and you look below that, you will see that there are more advanced skills that they are very useful. Like, you can do automatic speech recognition. You can do multimodal processing, so it means that you can provide both photos and images and sounds and text. They can do text simplification. They can do style transfer. They can do personalization. They can do discourse analysis and many other things. All of these skills are very valuable if you think about it in the way that you create things as you are building your startup. And the point is to see how, with a series of examples, how you can leverage these skills within the generic tools that you have access to in order to complete your journey much more efficiently. Although the majority of the references is about the large language models, what we have right now is something more advanced. We have large multimodal models, and essentially that means that the models can receive as input and produce as output not only text, but they can receive images, data of different formats, and they can produce anything from text, code, images, sounds, videos, and many, many more. And not only that, recently, the past few months, they have been shown that they are capable of doing some basic reasoning, and they can do so by essentially discussing among themselves. And in this regard, they are becoming more trustworthy as opposed to black boxes that they can produce the next token. Uh, and if we take that a step further, then you have also the opportunity to create agentic workflows, because essentially you are not capable of talking or using one of them. You are capable in some cases using one of them to interact with, but that one can create multiple copies of itself and assign these copies to do different diverse tasks in order, and once they complete them, they return the content to the, let's call it the orchestrator, that it is the agent that you're discussing with. If there are questions about the technical part, we can come back to in the end. But for now, I assume that you have some basic experience with LLMs or LMMs like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and the like. And what we are going to do next is essentially a series of demos that I will try to show you how we could have built a new startup. And the scenario I will use is I call it EcoSnap. It's an AI-powered sustainable living platform, and we want to build that with these tools that we have. And by build, I mean anything from understanding the market all the way to creating the product. So this is an imaginary startup, or maybe there is a similar one, a real one, but following a similar logic, you can replicate no matter what the startup businesses, anything from something like that to a drug or something, or a robot or anything else in between. The point is to identify the functions that you can use to leverage the power of LLMs and use them. And which are the main functions? It could be things like the idea, validation, and market discovery, a lot of branding stuff, messaging, content creation, ideas about customer acquisition, certainly a lot of rapid prototyping, primarily if it's a software based technology, integration with other stacks like the Slack, the CRM, analyzing documents, and producing reports based on these documents, synthesizing knowledge from different sources, customer support, even going into internal operations, the financial and other types of operations. And we'll end up, depending on the time we have, with some advanced prompt engineering ideas and some a short discussion about some challenges primarily related to the use of the AI within startups and the requirements set by the EU AI Act, assuming, of course, that you operate in Europe. So most of the rest of the workshop will be primarily demos using ChatGPT. Let me switch that. So similar results would be possible with other platforms, but for now, I will use ChatGPT. So keep in mind that this is the pro version of ChatGPT. So depending on what subscription you have, things may not be exactly the same, but I will try to use, for the most part, things that they are available even in the free version. So the first part of the journey is to understand the market and try to see what's going on. So what you can do right now is I have created the prompt. You are my expert market research assistant. I want to build a mobile app and a web platform that uses AI to help users make more sustainable choices in their daily lives. Users can scan products to get instant sustainability ratings, discover eco-friendly alternatives, track their carbon footprint, and connect with like-minded individuals. Analyze the top 5 sustainability apps in the market and give me some gaps in their offerings, which of course the idea is I can use them in building the ecosystem. Before I will actually start the thing, I want to highlight a couple of things. Usually when you are having these discussions, it's important to set the role, which in this case, the role is that you assign ChatGPT to be an expert research assistant. And what will be the task? And this is the task. You can have additional information, but at least you need these to give a task and sometimes the context, like the fact the task and the context are not always. So this could be considered the context, and then the task could be building actually the software. So it is important in the beginning of these interactions not to just ask like find me top 5 sustainability apps in the market. Why? How you want to do that? So once you create this you create this a prompt, you can actually run it. If you are not sure about the value of your prompt, if you don't feel very capable, maybe you think that you need a little bit help and you are early in the journey, what you can do actually is not start like that. Is you can say create a prompt for ChatGPT that addresses the following. So I don't think I've created a very good prompt, and I want something more, more effective. And it's just as simple as asking ChatGPT to create this prompt for me. So essentially, you can see that it designs and makes it much more accurate, more well-defined. It is very important when you're doing these tasks to be very precise, very clear. So you can see here, it took these, short paragraph and analyze it to a greater length. So now I can take that and I can start a new session. And I can actually do the task that I want. And of course, sorry, I forgot, but you have to put the search, but actually the same thing happens even if you don't put that. So let me do that again. So essentially, you can see here, it is not coming up with a solution based on its own internal knowledge, but it starts it completed the result after doing some short search. So you can see here that there are these 5 websites that they seem to be relevant to what you're doing, and the system got them, analyzed them, and provided some feedback on what you could do. If you want something much more detailed, you can take the exact same prompt, and instead of just searching using this deep research functionality, which unfortunately is not available right now to all users, but you could see the results. The first thing is that it asks for clarification questions, and I can say something like, no, no, I don't have. I want global, let's say a European perspective, and primarily interested in B2C. So it doesn't matter even if I don't correct all these things, you will get the message. But so now the process will be a little bit different. It will take much longer, and you can see that the the system analyzes and starts doing the search. And eventually, after quite some time, maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes, depends on the length, it will get us a report. While it is searching, and depends now, it has started, you can see the activity. So right now you can see it's trying to do a competitive analysis of the top sustainable apps in Europe, and you can see also which sources eventually will come out. Let's leave it there, and let's move to the next part. And the next part is that you want to do some analysis of the personas. Since we are waiting and that will take some time, I will go to the previous discussion. So I can say, based on the identified market gaps, lack of product level stability, info and community, generate 3 detailed customer personas for an app that helps people make more sustainable choices in their daily life. So now I'm telling it, yeah, you completed the market analysis and you gave me the things. Tell me who would be the top personas to consider in order to start focusing on and building my communication strategy, the features and everything else. So you can see that it gives you examples of specific personas. The first one is the eco-conscious millennial supper. It will give you some demographics, psychographics. And then the second one is the young professional tracking carbon footprint. And the third one will be something else. We'll figure that out. And these are the starting points for you to start looking at potential users, which will eventually give you the opportunity to get feedback, create early proof of concept with them, and so on and so forth. These personas is part of and both these steps are part of the workshop that we are doing at the during the program, which is based on the book by Bilole, Discipline Entrepreneurship, and there you will learn more details how to do that. So you can see here you have 3, 4 ideas. You can ask for more. Actually, one other tip that you should consider is you can have 3 or 10, but you have to ask it. Now you see, because I'm continuing the previous discussion, I'm not, again, define the role, but I'm just it's the same thing as having a discussion with a human. You continue the discussion from that point that was left, so you don't have to go again through the role and everything else. Let's see if the work has not completed yet. You can see the difference one. The previous search was completed in a few seconds. Now the thing is taking longer, and you can see that what it does. It reads different things. It searches different things, and has already gone through 21 different sources. So more detailed, more useful. But we'll come back to that. So and let's say that you want to delve more deeper into one of the personas because you want to understand more details about that person. Let's say that you like the first persona, which, if I remember correctly, is Emma. So Describe a typical day in the life of eco-conscious Emma. Highlight her interactions with the products and how she tries to make sustainable choices. Highlight how an app like EcoSnap could help throughout her day. And again, these are mm, starting points. You are expected to think about that and improve them, and not to use them as end result. So so you can see it builds a detailed story of how Emma goes about her day and how EcoSnap could support um, her choices. And that again can help you to imagine, especially if you have limited experience in the particular field, using a tool like this will give you a lot of ideas. And you don't have to start to one. Like, you can ask it to create a second, a third, or even more personas and examples of their daily lives, because the more ideas you can get, I mean, not infinite, but if you start playing around maybe 4 or 5, you will get different approaches, and then you would be able to start thinking how you would actually approach such people, where you will find Emma, how you will communicate what the things that she likes or he likes, depending on that. So these are parts of the discovery process. The other part is still going on. You can see that has gone to 24 sources and keeps asking different things. We'll come back to that. So now you have um, you have enough information about the market, about the competition. You can dive deeper. Now we got a notification that the analysis was complete, and you can see here the result in this case is much more detailed. So you can see the uh, maybe not exactly too good to go was also in the other list, but you can see more details about what they are doing, and eventually, I think down below there will be more um, things to consider. So you can see here the differentiation strategies are more reads as opposed um, to the other one for a number of reasons which are not important to clarify now. But the point is, you have a very good starting point to build in either case. So let's assume that you didn't have um, the name, and you want to uh, brainstorm some ideas, and you can assume that this discussion goes on, and then you can ask it to generate 15 creative and memorable brand names for the mobile app, and you can describe that. You don't necessarily have to do that right now because you have already built the discussion. But if you start from the beginning for something you already do, you could start with that right away. So obviously, EcoSnap is there because sorry, it was part of the previous discussion, but you can see other related interesting interesting ideas. Um, and you would say, you would select one of them or more than one of them, and you want to get feedback how these things will work. And what you can do, you can ask obviously your friends, and you can do some testing, which probably, asking friends it's a good approach. Creating some formal questionnaire to send it out, maybe social media, and get some feedback. But there is a simpler way to get feedback from the same tool. So Essentially, let's say that we decided to go for between EchoLens and EchoSnap, and what you can do is start a new session, and you can say, I want to build a mobile app and web platform that uses blah blah describe, and uh, actually, what we can do is to let me get a response so I don't have to retype it. So I can, these were ordered not in specific order. It was just they came up. So I can I can ask it to rank them in order of preference based on the attractiveness of the name to the target audience. So now you ask it, although it created the names, you use ChatGPT to create it, you can start a new session. It doesn't know about your previous discussion, and you can ask it to do something that it didn't do before. And here you can see that I got EchoSnap first, but the second one is Sustaina. The third is GreenScan. So, and EchoLens is further down, which was fifth, etc. So you can um, then go on and check the different use different tools in order to make sure which ones they have availability of those names in order to register the names of the websites, maybe some social. You want to create a, a series of names that will be useful for what you're building. So you have decided, let's say we will stick with the discussion of EchoSnap, and I'll go back to this discussion. And then I want to start creating messaging for my campaigns, for the things that I will be doing eventually that communicate the value proposition. So in this case, I want to generate 10 taglines for EchoSnap because I decided I like it, that are concise, memorable, and highlight the app's ability to help users make sustainable choices. Target the tagline to appeal to different personas. Let's say Emma. And you could also add the other ones. So you don't want generic taglines. You want to target the persona, one of the personas that you selected before. So now it will get you useful, memorable taglines that connect with the idea of the persona that was created before. If you do that, I mean, now we are running many things sequentially, which is not the case. From step to step, maybe days, weeks, or even months. If you were to run this prompt, 3 weeks afterwards, the only thing that you have to change was, target the taglines to appeal to our persona and then describe the persona. Now, I don't have to because the persona is described up here, and that makes it easy. But you could do that by adding this context. It's important to always give context to these tools. So you can see here, scan, choose, sustain, or you have your pocket guide to a green world. If you go back and read the persona description, you will see that they are matching very much to and then you want to create some messaging. So you want let's say to develop 3 key messages for EchoSnap that clearly communicate the app's benefits to the user, focusing on how it simplifies sustainable living and provides reliable product information, fosters community like a community of like-minded individuals. So you can do different things, um, uh, all of them around the communication, um, And and you can see here, simplify sustainable living with smarter scanning, or you can, and if you don't like them, I mean, you got 3 messages, you don't like them, nothing stops you from going backward, again and again, and um, changing that until you nail the thing. So, and you can always do the same. You can let's say you want this message, you can copy that, start a new session, and can say, I'm building this thing for this persona. Tell me what you think, and if there are things that are missing. So, um, although in real life it would be kind of awkward to ask me to write you a message for your app and then just walk a couple of steps, turn around and tell me, Vasily, what do you think about this messaging? Most probably I'll think you are crazy because I wrote that messaging for you a few minutes ago. So, what could be different? In cases like this, you can do that very easily. You can select that and go to the to ChatGPT and start a new session. Or you can select another one, actually. You can go, for instance, to Gemini, and you can start the session here. Let me start a new session here. So I can say, um, I uh, I uh, I am developing EcoSnap, um, and I have drafted the following message with the intent to clearly communicate the app's application. Um, what do you think? And essentially, you're asking the same thing. The same example could be uh, again on ChatGPT, and you can see that it gives you the strengths and some suggestions for improvements. Even in this case, it gives you something like that. So again, don't get me wrong. You can do that even with ChatGPT, and you will also get very valuable feedback, despite the fact that the system was defined or was created with ChatGPT. So you can see the question is why it couldn't get me the refined version in the first place. Well, it boils down to how these things work, and uh, they are not Oracle. They don't know everything. They are just guessing what will be the next probable word. And it takes a couple of iterations to get significantly better results. So um, let's say that you want to create. Let's go back to this app here. So we're in the same discussion. We have the previous one. Um, so let's say that you want to generate um, content to educate your audience about the sustainable living and eventually promote your app. So you can start a new session, but it would be nice to continue that. So the point here is create an outline or for a blog titled 10 Easy Swaps for a More Sustainable Kitchen that targets eco-conscious, let's say, Emma, who is looking for a simple way the post should be informative and encouraging, and mention how EcoSnap can help. If you were to do that right now, as part of the previous discussion, this prompt is okay. If you were to do that as a separate session, again, you would have to add the role and the context to that. But right now, uh, we are happy that we have part of this discussion. Actually, even if you're doing this over a long period of time, you can always refer to this to your previous discussion and keep it running. Although in some cases, if the discussions become way too long, some of the things will not be running properly, and it is more advisable at the end of each discussion to create some kind of a summary that you will keep for later use. So here, I got these ideas, and it still goes on. Let's say, so you got all these ideas. You can see here, swap paper towels for cloth towels. Or you can swap plastic produced bags to reusable mesh bags. And so this is the outline. This is not the content, but you can go on and you can expand the one that you want. Eventually, you would want to expand everything, but let's give it an example. The example in this case, let's expand. This is from the previous. Let's say expand this one here. So we want to. Okay. It's about the same. Providing specific product recommendations. So you want to build on that, and it will give you more details, more content to add to your blog post. Obviously, you have always to fact check these tools, these content. Don't just take them at face value. You may end up in problem. I mean, they are becoming very good, but still, it's better to fact check them. At least read them and make sure that. Especially in sensitive areas, the results are pretty good. So you can see it's a pretty long text, and there are some pro tips for making the transition here. So this is like a full, it could be a series of posts like this one, which will be helpful for you to um, which you could use to engage your audience. And then you can continue on and create a social media post to promote the blog on X, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can be specific on which media you want to, but most probably it will give you different versions depending on the type of content, the type of the social media platform you're using. So you can see here, that's the Twitter post, and that is a Facebook post, and then it's the Instagram post. So obviously the content is the same, but the approach could be different, probably because the audience in different in these social platforms have different approaches to how they look things, and you can go on and write a different one, a thought leadership product, because on LinkedIn you want to present yourself as a thought leader. You can ask it to write an article that will be totally different. Of course, it will be again visibility, but different focus, different target audience. So here the tone will be more like an article, more clear, presumably with more details that will build your company's story as a thought leader in the space, and get the audience could be potential investors, potential business partners, or whatever else that you want. And in all these cases, you can just, obviously you can copy and paste it, but again, I would highly recommend that you read it, you test it, and in some cases, if you have the ability to do A/B testing, you can ask it to create more than one articles. And see which one, especially if there are ads, like in the next case. So we want to create an ad here, generate 5 different ad copy variations for EchoSnap, highlighting the key features, targeting again the persona we wanted, and with different headlines, body text, and call to action. So um, uh, the possibilities are endless, but you have to balance the possibilities with effect. You're not there to create endless variations. The idea is to get the point is to get ideas which then you can use for actually doing the campaign. Don't spend your time creating campaigns and not actually running the campaigns. But you can see here, even if you are an amateur in ad writing, the results could be significantly better. And the interesting thing is that you can now say, do you remember we had up there, we had uh, James Patel. Let's say that repeat, uh, but target James Patel. So essentially now I'm telling it, do the ads, the copy ads, but now target a different audience, and the content would be redesigned, and you can see if we were to go back and compare that um, with the other ones, would be more appropriate for this particular case, which is a data-driven professional. And yeah, in this regard, they want to learn more, make decisions based on real data. Here it is a more emotional thing. You can see here. It's not about data, it's about values, different stuff. And then you want to create a landing page, and you have done a lot of work. You have maybe tested many of these concepts, and you can use a prompt like this, generate 3 different headline and subheadings for the landing page that targets, again, the conscious Emma. Obviously, you could create alternatives for Patel and all the other personas. And again, as I said, you can use, if you want to be really sophisticated, you can do A/B testing and see what message brings, depending on the audience that you're targeting. And in this case, the headlines would be targeted for that particular person, and then you can expand because you have the landing page. Um, let's say that we want to option 1. Let's expand option 1 and give me the content of the landing page. So you can see now it builds up more context of the landing page. The graphics don't really necessarily matter. This is about the context, the content, not the graphics. The graphics is a totally different story. And in order to showcase, let's do the following. Let's say we want to create some kind of an image that represents the concept of EchoSnap. So I can say, create a prompt for mid journey to create a visual that represents the target persona, Emma, that not represents, relates the and add it in the blog post. Okay, so now I'm not asking for the end result is a prompt for Midjourney. Midjourney is a tool. which you can use in order to create visuals. And you can see a young eco-conscious woman in the late 20s shopping local sustainable grocery, etc. Very detailed description. And then you can go to Midjourney, and then you can create the as a picture. You can decide whether it will be landscape or different parameters. And I don't know if you have used Midjourney. Similarly, you can do with DALL-E and many others, but Midjourney, I think, has a number of features that make it more desirable and relevant to this use case. And soon enough, you will be able to see the results coming out. And you know, it would have been difficult to get something like that without. Obviously, there are mistakes. Like this one here is. It's not a very appropriate result. Even the length of the fingers are funny, but you can try a couple of times, and you will get something better and better, which then you can use in order to uh, add into your blog post. You can create, there are different tools for different multimedia. You can use Midjourney for something like that. You can use Sora for a short video. You can use Suno for some music to play, or you can use Synthesia for creating that persona, saying something live to the eye. So if this one seems to be relevant, and most probably it relates to that target persona, because it's in a supermarket, obviously, that has fresh fruits. You can see here that she's holding a grocery bag that it's made out of cloth, not the plastic ones. And certainly these visual will help you communicate your message better, as opposed to getting stock photos, which are again, very generic. So these are things that you can do in order to build your communication part. And let's say that now you have decided to reach out to some specific uh, partners, for instance, companies that they have products that they are, environmentally conscious, and you want to create cold emails. So generate a personalized cold email template for EcoSnap to reach the name of the company, sustainable product, blah blah blah, and do a specific task, complete a specific task. Again, now I have not asked for the role, because it's the continuation of a thread. But if it was a standalone interaction, you would have to give some background about the role and the context of. So here you got a fairly detailed um, email template, which you can further customize. For instance, let's say that you wanted to find which one which one could be a perfect partner. There are a couple of names, but I forget. Let's say, for instance, Coca-Cola. It's not a appropriate example, but let's say that you wanted to further customize the template, the email, by email that I will send to the product manager of Coca-Cola, and I want you to read their website, the sustainability part, and refine the email accordingly. So essentially, you are telling it, go read the website of the target customer. It could be the profile or whatever else, and make it more relatable to that person. So from a generic email that you would be sending out to a number of people, you can target it and in the same fashion and make it more specific to the audience. And it is not just about replacing the brand name with Coca-Cola. What which is a bad choice, by the way, as an example. But what you will notice is that the examples and the wording that you would use in a generic one are very much customized. And then you can use different tools from specialized mail merging systems to simple Gmail-based mail merge. So let's say that you have done all that and you have gathered some momentum and you want to start working on a pitch deck, which would be part of the work that we will be doing during StartSmart. So now help me create a compelling narrative for an investor deck for EcoSnap. You can start with, you are my expert assistant in creating investor decks. Again, that will be much more important before, but now it's not as important. And again, give the background, and now you can see that it will get you one set of slides that most probably will be um, fairly good, and then you have to build on top of them. Building on top of them means that you will not necessarily get the exact content, but you can, it will help you go from not knowing exactly what to write to have an outline, a first draft, which then you can further finalize. And obviously, the finalization will include graphics, which for which you can include, for instance, here your target market. It's one thing to put a generic picture in the deck, and another is to have something like that, where here it says your company's logo or something similar. So you you have all the information. Obviously, now we are making things up, and then you have to do more discussion to get the exact details. For instance, let's say let's update slide 7 with the competition identified in the beginning of this discussion. If you remember, we started with 5 companies that the system identified as potential competitors. You can see EcoSnap, Good on You, etc. And now, again, you have to verify that all these things are good, and maybe you will change from a yes and no to some scaling, but you have a very a first approach as a comparison to that you could use. And let's say that you have managed to build a series of meetings with investors and you want to get prepared. And one of the things that investors do is ask difficult questions. So you can say, generate a list of 10 challenging questions that investors might ask during the pitch so you can prepare. And you would most probably see that they will be really interesting questions, and there will be hints about the answers. Of course, these, the questions, you can take them as they are, but the answers you have um, uh, to update them with your own details, because these are still generic ones, but having this as a starting point, it's a great way to get ready for. Obviously, there are tools which you can use in order to build further your deck. There are ways that you can create graphics. There are some like Gamma AI or others that would provide you with the entire deck. I would not suggest that. Me as an investor, I would like to see your personal touch into that, and the content you can adapt easily. If you get a ready-made deck, it will be a mess. Like, it is better to use tools like Midjourney to build things like that, or use other uh, I found out today an interesting tool called Napkin, which gives you very nice graphics that they look you can create many visuals that based on the text, and they have a similar approach to create a visual identity. So you have enough information, and now let's say that you have managed to convince some early investors to invest in your company. You have used all the materials, and now it's time to do some rapid prototyping and product development. Um, let's say that you have a broad idea, but you want to prioritize the features that you want to put into your tool. So brainstorm 5 innovative features for the EcoSnap app that would appear on the target persona, eco-conscious Emma, and enhance her ability to make choices. So now it's time to use that as an idea generator for things that they would be appropriate for your target audience. For instance, green scrap, smart sustainable alternatives, or renewal of rewards for sustainable action. And it will explain how it works and why that persona would like it. So once uh, once you have selected the list, you can start developing, and I'll come to that. But you can also create. There must be one. Well, it didn't get something like that. But anyhow, let's say that you want um, get into more details of the green alert. So let's say outline the user flow for the green alerts. So you want to describe how these green alerts will work from user scans the product or when it's a recommendation. Again, the system will give you more details about the steps that the system will work, and you can further refine the functionality. So when you start making the early prototypes, uh, you can take into consideration these ideas and quickly develop the early prototype. Um, and obviously, you can do many things like this, all right? So um, let's say that these are the steps, and you can actually start even if you have limited. One of the things that we recommend building going through the program is you build some early prototypes that you can go out and check the market. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not that easy. But if the product that you're building is based on software, then you can essentially create a prototype using something like that in many ways. And I can say create a short description of the echo snap up uh, the Echo Snap app for my development team using the features above. So I want to communicate with my development team the features that they were described above in order for everybody to have a very clear view of the development path and using them to start building the product piece by piece based on the things that I think are more important. And in let's say that you want let's say that the scoring thing is you know you want to create a scoring thing for the different uh, um, products, and then you can go on and create something like that. Create a scoring function for let's say in Python, which I can call which Echo Snap will use to score the echo friendliness of the product. Sorry about my misspellings, but so let's assume that there is some kind of a definition. You would probably, here are some imaginary criteria. Some of them are real, but I'm not sure if you can actually scan them. But you can say that assume the criteria is the carbon footprint, the ethical sourcing, sustainable packaging, and now you can have a Python code that you can implement into your product. And so when you scan it, the results will come out. So the point here is to show that you can do more than just create messages for social media or other platforms. You can actually start building the code. There are some apps, there are some tools like let me show you a couple of them. There's a one called Lovable Development where you can go here and describe something and it will produce your prototype. And there's also another one called Dev, which again does the same thing. These are primarily for SaaS-like applications, web applications, but there are similar tools for other areas. Eventually, there are tools that are coming up that can help you design even more complicated stuff like proteins, but this is a whole other story. Um, so um, you have created a lot of traction, and then you can use it to do things internally. You know how to create, let's say, uh, identify useful APIs in the market, which I can use for EchoSnap, and then you can do the search, and it will get you APIs, application program interfaces that probably could fetch some of these, details that you want in order to implement your code, and then you can use. Um, so the the things that you can do don't just stop at the communication part. They go to the development phase, and then you can do even more interesting stuff internally. For instance, um, let's say that you have received, um, stop that. Let's say you have received uh, hold on, let me get to the right location. Sure. Yeah. So here, let's say that you have an agreement and you want to summarize it. Summarize the following partnership agreement between EcoSnap and the partner, focusing on the key obligations, revenue sharing, etc. Um, and you can see that it will read the document which I uploaded, and it will give you a good summary of the things that are in the contract. So obviously you have to go to your lawyer and you know and ask for advice. Okay. Let me do something else. It cannot read that one, but let's do a similar thing. I'll do that in another session. Let's say that no, let's actually stay here. Let's say you will do something else, and that something else is what you're building has some AI part, so you can upload the AI Act, which it's a large document, and you can say summarize the key points of the EU AI Act and tell me how they will affect the development of the ecosnap. Uh, So again, you force it to read the document, which is a very large document, and then it takes into consideration the discussion that you have above and gives you a very good understanding of the points that you have to consider both while developing your application and also while you're developing the workflows within the company. So you can do many interesting things, not only in terms of writing, but also in reading and writing. Um, and let's see a couple of last examples. Let me just give me a second. Uh, Give me a second to find the file that I want. Uh, um, well, sorry. So the thing what you can do is also to create um, qualitative information from quantitative information from qualitative information, and this is what I'm trying to get, a file which I misplaced and I have to recreate again. So not this one. Give me a second. Give me a second. So what I'm gonna do is I have downloaded a series of reviews from an imaginary app, and I want to get these reports, these reviews in order to analyze it. So not this one here. the thing when you want to do something, it doesn't always work. It's the curse of the real demos. So, okay. Let me get the steering back again. So I have I will sorry, not this one here. So I will paste here. These are let's say 500 imaginary reviews, and I will I want to the system to analyze them. So um, sorry. So I have these 500 sample reviews, and I want create a table with the reviews for sign -1 to let's say -2 to very negative and 2 to very positive reviews, and give me the key points, the key tags for each group. So essentially, you have a large number of reviews, and you want to analyze them for specific reasons. For instance, here I want to turn them into these are qualitative information. I want to turn them into quantitative. Maybe I want to combine them with some sales data, and I want to see if there was an effect, and build on that. So. And now you can see what it does. It just reads all these documents and does an analysis. This is actually the Python code that it will use to do this analysis. And it takes some time, but you can see here we have all these reviews. These are the first reviews. You can ask it to continue, and you can see that it is scored the sentiment, and then you can say give me a table with the aggregates for each sentiment. And that what we'll do is to analyze all the reviews and create give you a distribution of how many are -2 and how many are positive. So you can see that it did of only for these 20, but you can ask it to continue for the rest. So you can see now that you have um, these quantitative measurement that was extracted from this qualitative data. And so if you want to analyze the feedback that you got from your customers, you can use something like that. Of course, it's not very straightforward. Maybe you have to copy paste, but there could be other ways. You can use some API, some scraping technology. But the point is, if you were to rely on humans to read 500 reviews and give you something like that, it will be hopeless. The And then you can let's say that you have the plan of the company, and you want to do some you have the plan of the product, but you want to do some planning or financial planning. So you can say give me the main uh, tasks that need to be completed in order to go get a functional MVP of StartSmart. Give me an estimate of the effort So now you want to understand, it will take you how long it will take you to complete all these tasks, because then you have to do an analysis of the cost, so you can see, the type of categories that you need, and how many weeks. So you need user authentication profiles, you need 2 weeks, product scanning, 3 weeks, sustainability rating, 4 weeks. So if you have all these numbers, then you can come up with the cost estimates better, and then you can do better the economics of that, and also set specific goals for your team, because now you have a sense. Obviously, these are guesswork, and you want to refine, but the guesswork may, whether it's a 4 or 3 or 5 week, depends on the skill sets that you have, but you have a sense of the things that you need to do. So uh, you can see the whole thing, and then you can start making considerations. I need a product development person for 22 weeks, an AI and for 14 weeks, so I can have a demo within 6 to 7 months. And through this process, you can estimate many of the goals, and then you can create some detailed schedule for the planning of that. Um, this is just a sample of the things that you can do. There are more things you can do, and there will be a separate workshop or with more details on that during the acceleration program with the teams that they will enter. We will have more specific examples, because we will know exactly which teams are part of the program. And on top of that, the participants will have access to the MIT's entrepreneurial jetpack, which essentially complements an effort like this, because it's a set of tools of generative AI tools that build around the Discipline Entrepreneurship Program. So a few tips as we are getting ready to wrap up this workshop, about how you do uh, uh, prompting. First of all, prompting, I'm sure you know the term. Prompt engineering is the process of trying to get the best possible prompt in order to do a task. And one thing it is certain, it's not easy, and it takes a lot of effort and iteration, understanding the capabilities of the tools. It's not going to be the same thing across all tools. There will be different tools for different types of tasks, but it is important to remember that prompts need to be clear and specific. One of the examples, one of the way that people describe ChatGPT and its competition is as a colleague that you just hired into your company or your team, who has infinite patience but zero memory, which means that you always, when you start a new discussion with the colleague, you have to be very specific, because there's no prior memory, and you can ask as many things as you want. But remember that you have to check these things every time, because um, the results could have problems. The problems that you may have heard are usually called hallucinations, and they are the type of problems that come because you ask uh, very specific questions that they don't have anchoring in specialized knowledge, or there is no reference to that. The prompting, the current tools, most of them, they have access to the internet. So the hallucinations are limited as long as you try to make very careful prompts. There are newer tools like the O1 or O3 models that they can do reasoning, which means that You can give them a more complicated problem, and they will resolve it, and you will be able to understand the reason behind it. For instance, if you have access to DeepSeek, you can see that, for instance, I gave it this example. I'm looking for an action camera and I want to use it for my windsurfing sessions, and it spent quite some time in searching. Um, and if you have a task that requires reasoning, here's an example. How many golf balls can fit inside the Temple of Zeus at Cape Sunio? You can see that it went for 181 seconds thinking about it. So the reasoning models, instead of just repeating, creating the prompt step one word after the other, they spend some time before in thinking among themselves in order to get you the right answer. Understanding this process means that you are able to use the tools in a more efficient way. One other important tip is to use examples. Especially when you wanted to create some new text, if you have specific examples that you have developed prior to that, then it is better to give them as opposed to just give the instructions and no examples. Sometimes if you wanted to do something and you are not 100% sure how what the system needs to know, then you can actually ask it. So for instance, let's say I want you are my expert social media campaign assistant. I want to create a detailed month-long campaign for Echo Snap. Tell me what you need to know. So essentially, instead of telling it just to create it, you throw an extra question, and you have to and the system gives you some interesting questions which you may have thought before, but or not, but it giving you these questions helps guide you in order to get the right answer. So you can see here, what is the primary objective? What are the specific KPIs? So instead of just going with this part of the prompt, getting the third part of the prompt, and then start answering as many questions as you can. It doesn't have to be all of them, but the more the better. You can get better results. Finally, keep in mind that these tools are just tools, which means the final responsibility into whatever comes out of them falls on you and your team, and you have to use them carefully, because you can easily get into trouble if you don't fact check what comes out of it, if you don't adapt it, if you don't at least read it to make sure that it is appropriate for the case that you're building. And one last thing, if you are using such tools, especially if you are using AI into your product and you're planning to operate in the European Union, you have to take into consideration the requirements of the EU AI. It's not a end of the world situation. I mean, there's a lot of discussion about whether it stifles competition, innovation, everything else. As I said, just do what the example I gave you before. Download the text, describe what you're building, and ask it to give you some references of the things that you have to be careful about. So I hope this is a very broad topic. I hope that in the past hour and a half, I gave you enough information and enough ideas to get you going. We have about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and I can have questions or um, so yeah, we have an AI assistant which does the notes, and then so Heather's asks, given this is easy, how do you think about building modes? I did not say it's easy. And these it is easy compared to the things that you have to do in order to actually complete all these tasks, but it's not going to be the main way that you will defend your startup. You will get ideas from different you know uh, from different aspects, but modes means that you understand your business very well. You would have to spend a lot of time to do research and use your judgment in order to build whatever else. How you trust this data? Well, I never said that I trust it 100%, but there are ways to check it, and this is if you remember uh, this version. I'm going to show you. I'll share my screen again. So you remember this was the deep research I did before. So here you have the references, like, you see that this part was picked up from this one, which means, again, you have to go and read that. What is the benefit of using such tools? Uh, the time you would have to go about and collect all this information, process them, put them into in one coherent report, most probably would be, I don't know, 10, 100 times more. So you have a starting point, and you can use your judgment again. Uh, uh, for building the data tables. Heather, I mean, I think you can unmute yourself, and because I'm not sure which data tables you refer to.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thanks. This was such a great presentation. I just wanted to say that I've learned a lot, so I appreciate you taking the time to do it. Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
this user, the sentiment
Here?
and all those things. Yeah, where you had like, let me just. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm on my phone.
Okay.
No, no, not this one. It was where you had like 500. Yeah, the sentiment score
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
aggregations.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that seems like you don't want to make that up, and it's very hard to check without just redoing the whole thing. So that's where I was kind of
Well,
like,
okay. Yeah, so essentially, not very helpful. Most of the information can be found with a simple Google search. Okay, so as a sentiment, if you have set the range from -2 to +2, what will give you? So it's not going to be perfect, but think you have these 500 comments, and you want to make some use of it. Are you going to read them? And even if you're going to read them, are you going to be able to unbiasedly, take them into consideration from number 1 to number 500? Most probably not. So the point is that you have zero visibility and you're building some visibility. It may be or may not be very accurate, but it will not be the only thing that you're building. And actually, this set of reviews, I just created it myself using 10 reviews and then just asking it to create
mm-hmm,
490 more. So
mm-hmm,
um,
mm-hmm,
you can always check, but again, think of extracting this valuable information from your audience, which
mm-hmm.
most probably you will not be doing that if you didn't have a tool like this. How many times have you read 500 or 1,000 reviews um, from your product, from your competitor's product, and you use them in order to get some valuable insights. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah. And I see there that there's the download button, so you can download that
Yeah,
as a
yeah, yeah.
table
Obviously,
and share it. Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can all of the stuff that you do with math, you can always download them. You can always use the Python code that the system used. And you can replicate that thing. And again, going through and testing some ideas like, for instance, decent app for finding local eco-friendly stores, but not much beyond that. Is
Mm-hmm.
it one or is it zero? Certainly it's not negative. Simple and easy to use, good for beginner sustainable living. Okay, is it the same two with this minus two? This may be like a pro person and this one may be, then you can ask the system to take into consideration characteristics of the people that they are giving the review. So the point is you have a wealth of information that sits there most of the time unused, and now you have tools that you can use to scan and get more insights.
Yeah. So like let's say that you have an Amazon review page.
Uh-huh.
The reviews are tabbed. So say you wanted to
Correct.
do a competitive analysis against something that was sold on Amazon. Is it
Mhm.
able to do that or not really? Just given that I know Facebook in particular has like no scraping allowed and things like that. Um,
Well, you, there are many tricks that you can do. And it's then it becomes again, you can ask it actually to give you ideas. One thing that
uh-huh.
comes to mind is you can take screenshots, which will be
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it will be maybe 100 screenshots, but again, it's just 100 screenshots. It's not an infinite number of screenshots, and then you can upload, describe what you want. It will do OCR, it will extract
Mm-hmm.
information, will get you
Mm-hmm.
a fairly good understanding. Would it be perfect? No, but again, as you said, it's even hard to get the reviews out of these platforms on your own. So,
Mm-hmm. But you may not know this, but does that violate like Facebook in particular is very
are you
anti.
planning to be if you're planning to be an entrepreneur, you better ask for forgiveness instead of permission. So, yeah, I'm
Sure,
not
sure.
saying
Yeah.
that you have to do illegal stuff, but it's a big discussion. Are you using that for what? To educate yourself? Obviously, what would be the difference if you spend like 5 hours writing everything with a pencil and paper, and then
Yeah,
upload or
fair.
copying that? So
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yep. Fair point. Yep.
these are difficult questions to answer, but find ways to extract the information that you want.
And I just if I have time for one more question, the uh, export of this into like a reasonable PowerPoint format, you cannot do that in ChatGPT. You have to go to Beautiful AI or Gamma or something in order to actually generate slides. Is that correct? In PowerPoint format.
I would not recommend using any of these tools to generate actual slides. I would
Uh-huh.
recommend that you build the outline and then you build the content, but the slides is something that it is based on your touch. I mean, you can use tools like Canva to build parts from here and there, but these
Mm-hmm.
tools that they do the entire deck are boring. So if you want to have an impressive story, you need to use your imagination, and you can use these text based to save time, but in the other thing that they are facing out, I would suggest that you spend more time um, in more traditional ways.
Yeah. I'm an entrepreneur and I have a management consulting firm, and I'm trying to figure out for the consulting firm, is there a way that I can leverage them as if I had a analyst on my team, so that I can be faster myself. And what analysts tend to do is build a lot of slide decks, but I'm it just doesn't seem like that's gonna happen. So.
Well, Uh, I think in management consulting, it's important to get the underlying content, and if you use deep research, you can get a lot of help in that. But for the slides, I haven't found something that it is. I mean, I'm making a lot of decks myself,
Mm-hmm.
and the one I created, I use a lot of Midjourney to create specific photos like this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then when it goes to actually putting them on a slide deck, I prefer to do that on my own. So,
Sure, sure. Yeah.
any other questions? Yanni, so which tool do you suggest for creating engaging presentations? Of course, the final touch will be uh, our own. Yanni, uh, I have not used any tool to make an entire presentation. I'm using ChatGPT to build the outline of the presentation, to build parts of the content, but the structure, at least for me, it works better when I'm building in my own. So there are different tools out there. Some of them more automated like Gamma, some of them less automated like um, Canva, even uh, Pa- uh, PowerPoint and Google Slides. They give you some ability. So you have on one end the tools Gamma like that you would give them some text and it will produce a presentation, which I haven't used. And then on the other side, you have obviously the manual work, and in between, you have tools that give you the opportunity within each slide to create things. I would be, resonate between these. The manual with the help of tools like this and the semi-automated, not the fully automated. I'm not 100% sure if the result can be corrected afterwards. So yeah, just try them out. Most of them they have free versions. For instance, I discovered Napkin this morning. It's amazing. You provide the text, and it gives you some visuals like this one very easily. But this is again, it's not a whole thing. It's parts. You put the parts that you want. For instance, here, um, let's say, where's the deck? Let's go back to the Pitts deck uh, for the first five, for the first two slides. Give me the detailed content and visuals and ideas about visuals. So it will not give you the end result. But it will give you enough information like in a slide, echo snap goal. So it will give you the structure of the content. It will give you the goals, uh, maybe parts that you want to add, and then you can have ideas about the visual. So you can say a modern, sleek smartphone mock-up displaying the echo snap apps scanning a product, and then you can take that and you can go to create, and you can say a modern sleek, and then obviously that was the result will not be good, but it will give you an idea how you can create a visual. So as I said, there are ways you can do things differently, but I prefer something like that. Then you have more ability to make it look as you want, as opposed to a very generic one. This is already made, but it still is not generic. But again, it's a personal preference. So yeah. Other questions? We have a few more minutes.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Any other questions? Uh, I will try. you can use tools like Suno to create audio, actually lyrics. I cannot actually demo you right now the Sora because I have to get on the VPN, but there are many, many, many more things you can create. So for those of you that are interested into applying into competition and to our acceleration program and learning more, um, the date is a little bit old, but the final date is this weekend. You can scan the QR code and it will take you to the application side. I hope that what you had the opportunity to see today will be useful, and you can extrapolate the value you can get out of StartSmart. Heather, there's no Boston-based StartSmart. I mean, there is because it was part of a program, MIT StartSmart, but and we were part of the MIT Enterprise Forum global. But you can still, if you want to build something and the acceleration program is relevant to you, you can take part into our program. Everything will be online, and the only thing that it is mandatory is for the companies, the team that will get to the final stage, the demo day, that they will have to travel to Athens for the demo day in the second part of June. So uh, you are welcome to apply. You are welcome to share with friends. We promise that what the value you got today is just a slight a part of what you will get by attending the program. We have amazing workshop leaders. We have amazing mentors that they want to help startups grow faster. And yeah, I'm sure you will enjoy the ride. So we have a few more minutes. If there are any other questions about the program, about the tools. Well, Yanni, there are. It depends. Like depends what people think about as a prototype. The prototype could be a paper. If you're building something in the biotech space, could be just a breakdown of like a rough even generated AI generated SaaS platform. The point of asking for a prototype is means that you are beyond the idea stage. You have thought about the market, you have thought about the problem, you have thought about all these things. My recommendation even is that even if you don't think you have a prototype, complete the application process. You will get feedback and you will know where you're standing. So, but there are many other programs for different levels, different types of companies, different stages, different verticals. So yeah, many. So again, thank you all for attending. Um, I hope you enjoyed that, and we're looking forward to have your applications, or hopefully you can share that information with other people in your network that are interested or would be interested to apply. And keep in touch. There will be more things coming for different technologies, different content that would be useful for all entrepreneurs. So good night.